Live from inside Porsche, Colorado Springs, it's the First Dibs podcast with our hosts, John Deisty and Justin Underwood. Buckle up and let's go for a ride.
Did you remember to hit record? Me too.
Yeah.
It's the First Dibs podcast, live on YouTube.
That's right.
And live to tape. That's what I always used to like to say.
Right.
Remember that? From Porsche, Colorado Springs. We are here tonight with Jake and Brendan. You want to put them up on screen? Let's get them up, and we can get the microphones going.
Here, we'll,
Yeah.
let's see here.
There you go. Yep.
Okay.
That's good. Yep. Put them up there.
Hey.
Hey, guys.
Hey, guys.
How's it going? Thanks for making the trip down.
Right. Yeah, appreciate it.
Yep. So Jake and Brendan are here from Shift Colorado Magazine to talk about their new issue.
Right.
We're joking. Traffic is atrocious. They've been on the road for like 3 hours, and I think Jake decided to retreat back home.
Right.
But Brendan will be here. So
On the way.
we're gonna leave that up. You can see my hand over there. Look at that. There it is. That's fun. That gives us some time to talk about cars.
Yeah. You got any?
No, not a, no.
We have some BMWs.
We got a question. That's wonderful.
Hey, all right. Perfect. Let's go.
Stephen H., we will get to your question in a second here after we just continue talking about how we don't have any cars to talk about. I do want to tell people, if you didn't catch the episode we did on Wednesday with Chaba Chetta, the car and driver editor-in-chief and automotive journalist, he had some awesome stories.
Yeah.
It was really a pleasure to get to sit down and chat with him.
Super fun.
One of those things like... There, because we have these stupid microphones,
Right.
we get to sit down with people that I never thought we would get to sit down with. That it wasn't even in my brain ever that we'd have these opportunities. So, Chubba, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very
We'd love
much.
to have you back anytime you want to stop by. And for those of you that didn't listen, the teaser is he got to go on the 959 launch.
Yeah, like
The
pre-launch.
Porsche 959 launch, and it was a great story. So
Amongst many other things.
all
right?
kinds of other stuff. We got to go to
Yeah.
lunch with them too.
Yes, that was fun.
I think it was good because it let us know each other a little bit, so it wasn't just a struggle bus.
I think it's kind of funny how he plays down his educational background.
Yeah,
An incredibly smart man, right? And
found his place.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I think that's cool. And I feel like some engineers are so nerdy that all they do is engineer.
Sure.
Right. And I wasn't nerdy enough to be an engineer. Like I couldn't buckle down and learn the math. And I'm probably the goofier end of that. And
Sure.
Chaba does a really nice job of kind of fitting in the middle where he's got the knowledge. He understands why the testing was important and why the data is important, but is able to relay those stories in,
Layman's terms.
yeah. And
Kinda.
even exactly dumb it down without dumbing it down.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So yeah, Colorado Cars and Coffee guys. Thank you for watching that and appreciating it. Those of you that haven't watched, go do it, and then like and subscribe because that's how we make all our money. Stephen H., what are your thoughts on the Carrera T versus Cayman GTS 4-liter manual transmission, naturally aspirated for 25,000 or more or less? What would you choose and why? Also, do you think the Cayman will hold its value better? Whew. I think that is one of the questions that you get to make your own decision on. If I'm going to buy one, it's going to be a Carrera T, and I don't care if it's a 991, a 992, or a 992.2. I think they all have merit. I would do that because I want a back seat. And that just is kind of, you know how when people vote for different things like political elections. Sometimes there's one issue you can't get over, whatever it is. If you think it's the economy, or you think it's education, or you think it's jobs or border protection or whatever, you're voting on one issue.
Sure.
And not that everybody does this, but for me, in the question we have posed here, Carrera T versus Cayman GTS, I am a one issue voter, and my one issue is I need a back seat.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yep.
What about you?
I like the Carrera T.
Yeah. Why?
It's a 911. And I mean, I love the Cayman for being the driver car, and I love the 4-liter being, going back to that flat 6, naturally aspirated. I think it sounds awesome. I think they're a ton of fun. I appreciate the room that the 911 has to offer, because I'm not really a track focused, type driver. And for the type of driving that I personally do, it's a lot of around town, and then on the weekends, maybe some spirited runs through the mountains, having a good time. I think the room of the 911 just allows more for me.
Yep.
To have that done, but
We're also too big. We're probably what do you think, 95th percentile in terms of
maybe
height?
It could be, yeah.
Right. I think we're up there.
Yeah. No, and I'm partial because I had a 911, and it's just and I know where that fits in my life. I've never owned a Cayman, and as much fun as I have in Caymans, I've never really envisioned myself owning one. I'm just a 911 driver, I guess. The value aspect, that's interesting, because as far as the mid-engine stuff, the 4-liters are definitely going to hold value really well, in comparison to the non 4-liters. I think the Carrera T is actually going to do value awesome as well, because it's been a very limited run of those cars. It's not something that they do every year. I think Porsche is making it known that that's kind of a special car, just by the way that you have to get it, now, and still being a fairly
that it's
limited
manual
run.
only.
And then even in the previous generation, it was pretty obvious they wanted you to order it with a manual transmission, and just they gave you the option to get a PDK, but it was pretty clear that they wanted you to get it a certain way. I think in the long run, the 911 will win out in the value aspect. But the reason I think that is because in the Cayman GTS platform, you've got GT4s and RSs, which are obviously like a little bit different. But the Carrera T, that gets trumped by GT3s and some other things as well. So it's hard to toss up. But I think just being a 911 in the long run, will kind of win out the value aspect. Manual transmission, though, either way.
Yeah. Performance-wise, last summer, I think it was last summer. It might have been 2 years ago. That was 2 years ago. We did a drive from the Centennial Airport to Aspen.
Yeah.
And I was chasing a GT4, a Spider, and a Carrera T, a 991 Carrera T, up Guanella Pass. And by chasing, I mean lagging way, way behind, because I was in my WRX, and I had my children in the car, and Isla got shaken up a bit and wanted to barf, and then we had to stop, and she barfed a little bit, and then we got back in the car and kept going. So chasing is...
You can rally.
Yeah, they had to wait for me at a few spots. But when they were waiting for me and we started going again, at, I would guess probably, 6,000, 7,000 feet, it was a very, very well matched experience, right? You could see the cars pulling away. They pulled away pretty much together. Cresting that, getting to 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 feet, the turbocharged Carrera T started just walking everybody.
Sure.
So that, the power difference there, I think it depends on what are you looking for in a car.
Yeah.
But in terms of performance, the turbochargers up here at altitude, especially as you're climbing, really starts to make a difference.
Yeah. No, that's for sure. The Cayman, to me, I still refer to them as point and shoot cars.
Really?
Yeah. They handle so incredibly well. That what I mean by point and shoot is that you turn the wheel, that's where it goes, right? Where you point your hands is where you go.
Got it.
It's always been that way, since 2006 and to now. I think it's progressed really well, with the power to weight ratio and all that stuff. But yeah, I call it a point and shoot. And that's a driver's car to me.
Yeah.
And the real world, as far as performance driving is, anything much more than 300 horsepower, you can't really utilize that. There's just not enough places, to do so. Mm-hmm. My son, he does the kart racing, and a few weeks ago, he showed me a bunch of video. He had two video streams going. He had a camera mounted to his helmet that they told him to take off a little bit later. And then he had his camera mounted to the side cart. Well, anyway, him showing me all this stuff. It's the most video that I've seen, his in action. It was just during practice. Mm-hmm. We were primarily watching it just because Joe spun out in front of him a couple times or whatever. So it was just kind of funny, watching some of that. But what he pointed out, though, was how ridiculous some of the guys on shifter carts are. So the shifter carts that's out there practicing at the same time, they're a 125cc, 6 gears or whatever. I mean, they're fast, in the straightaways for sure. But, it's kind of like the shifter cart was the GT3. As far as you give it some room, you let it stretch its legs out and it can kind of run away a little bit. And then Preston's in the Cayman, right? He's in 100cc, 2-stroke. Not a tremendous difference, but it is, it is less power.
Yeah.
But he's more agile, in the handling section. So the 125 guys would just kind of slowly pass by, and some of them would be funny and acknowledge and what are like, bye, but then the first time that you got to hit the brakes, he'll come right around him type thing. And I think that's real. Yeah. That's real world as far as 911 and Cayman.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just the power can make a difference in places, but the agility makes up such a difference.
Yep. Try them both.
Yeah.
See which one you think. Excuse me. In terms of value, I think total cost of ownership is very, very similar. Mm-hmm.
For sure.
20, 30 years from now, which one is preferred? Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of time and decision making between now and then.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't expect one to really outpace the other by much.
Right. Cost of ownership is something that we do talk about here, fairly common because in the world of selling cars, what is one of, the most common objections? It's too much. Mm-hmm. Well, that's where in the world of Porsche, right, we get to set ourselves apart, is which one really ended up costing you more. Mm-hmm. So, you could get a 911 for $150,000, or you could go get something else, for $110,000. And on paper, might be seemingly similar as far as power and all that kind of stuff, creature comforts. But over the course of the next 3 to 7 years, 10 years or whatever, is that when you go to sell that car or trade it in, which one depreciated more? Mm-hmm. Well, that's where we're lucky. In the Porsche world, the Porsches don't depreciate like just about any other brand out there for the most part. So that's which car really costs you more. It's never the Porsche, right? Mm-hmm. So that's something to keep in mind, right? As you're out there looking.
Consult your financial advisor. We are not investment bankers. Aren't we supposed to say something like that?
We're not investment. We're not accountants.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Stephen, good question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a great question.
And if you want to come try them, let us know. We've got a couple nice 992 Carrera T PDK and a manual with the aero kit and bucket seats.
Right.
And then we've got a black Spider manual.
Right.
So I don't have a GTS currently, but we can get you pretty close to each experience. So you can kind of make a decision by yourself.
Yeah.
Well, with me in the car. But you can make a decision based on more than I love we talked about it with Chaba, how I love the opinions that I get from YouTube videos.
Oh, sure.
You know, and you know, I think you can learn a lot by just listening to people talk about cars and talk about what they think and stuff like that. But you know, I disagree with a lot of the journalists saying that the GT3 is too stiff. The current generation, it doesn't feel that way to me.
Yeah.
Is it stiff? Probably, but it doesn't feel too stiff.
Right.
Doesn't feel that much more than a 911. You know, a Carrera with the suspension in sporty mode.
Right.
So I think you have to experience it for yourself and think about how it's going to work in your life and what are you using it for, and you know, and then that's where we come in and why we can maybe be helpful. It might be why I have a job. Actually, to help you make that decision might be why they employ me here.
Right. That is good.
Yeah. Ian, thank you for tuning in from the Carolinas.
Oh, that's awesome.
We miss you.
Yeah. Did you have some cars you wanted to talk about?
We already went through this. No. No, I don't.
Okay.
You want super early pre-first dibs?
I don't know. This is backfired. So I will tell you that we gave super early pre-first dibs on a 2007 911 Turbo?
Yeah.
And that car turned out to not check out so well. Yep. So we're not getting that car. I really apologize. I know there was a few people that were looking forward to seeing that when it arrived. Me.
Yeah, I was very much.
I wanted to see that car. However,
I'm very creaky in my headphone tonight.
The cons
like squeaky
outweighed the pros. And so actually that one didn't.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, how important are these cars to you? That's what I'm thinking. Don't jinx it.
Yeah. No, I'm.
Yeah. We have a very active parking lot tonight.
I really liked that Nordic gold Bronco that drove by.
That was pretty wild. Nordic gold, nice. That's a good color.
Yeah, it is a good color.
That's a great color.
Yep.
When was Nordic gold introduced?
2007.
On?
997 Turbo.
Yeah, Turbo, Targa. And they had it on, they did Cayenne GTSs.
Oh, there you go.
Yep. I've only seen one Nordic Gold Cayenne GTS. I bet the original owner still has it today. Beautiful car. Beautiful car.
Who do you think's pulling up in a Subaru? Did you order more food?
No, but they just waved.
Well, that's good. Maybe they're checking out mine.
Maybe.
Is it James?
Is it a press car?
Maybe. That'd be fun.
Maybe, because they don't know how to turn the parking lights off.
That's good. Yep. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, me neither.
But that's okay. They waved at us. They must be friendly. Yep.
Yeah. I wonder if it's Jed. Is that Jed?
I don't know. I don't know who Jed is. Oh, I know who Jed is.
Maybe.
I
don't
know.
Yeah.
You know,
what time is it?
I don't know, but the title of this episode was "The Shift Guys Have 11 Issues Better Than 99 Problems." I will tell you, one of their issues is punctuality.
For sure.
Did I already use that joke on the air?
No.
Okay, we just talked
Normally
about it beforehand.
It's not. Normally they're beforehand.
They're really good. But yeah, I would have prepared some other remarks had we known.
Right. Normally they have enough time to, like, they're cutting up limes or lemons, making
cutting up lines. Did I say? Those guys are cutting up lines before they come on our show. Jeez. We're going to have to say not for kids on this episode.
I said limes.
Sure you did.
Like green.
Yeah.
Green tart limes.
There you
sour.
go.
Not tart, sour. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's funny.
What's the difference between tart and sour?
One is a savory little cup of sweetness, and the other one makes you pucker.
Welcome to Cooking with John and Justin,
right?
Where we disagree on flavor profiles.
Yeah, that's tart is not the right.
Did we talk about the 38-mile car?
I don't think so, because I want to say it got here on Monday.
I think you're right. So why don't we mute me and steal Brendan's camera, and I will steal a key and go show that thing off a little minute. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. All right. Well, fill the air.
All right. So while John makes noise in my head. But anyway, so yes, the car that John is going to go show here pretty soon is a pretty unique feature. So this is a collectible car, right, at this point. It's absolutely beautiful, right, in every way. The first description that I heard of it, I wasn't exactly sure what to think, just kind of based on some of the color combination stuff. But anyway, here, let me see if I can get... Are you ready, John? Yep. All right, here we go. So this is a 2016 911 GT3 RS. And if you heard John mention it before, it has a whopping 38 miles on the odometer from new. Yes, 38. And if you want to get down to the specifics, I think the trip meter says 38.5 or 38.6 miles. Mexico blue, paint to sample color. And what I wasn't 100% certain on is the interior. I mean, it's black. It has lava orange accents, so including the seat belts, the stitching, the door pulls. The 12 o'clock marker on the steering wheel is in lava orange, which is just, it all works really, really well. It's almost like a very subtle kind of a Gulf livery, but obviously Gulf is a lighter blue. How close am I? 38.5 on the trip meter. 38 miles in total. This car was originally custom ordered here at Colorado Springs, picked up, delivered, driven home, put away in storage, wiped down to keep it clean, and then it was trailered here on Monday so we could put it through the CPO process and get it ready for resale. Obviously ceramic brakes with those big yellow calipers. I mean, just an absolute stunning car. It's got brand new tires on it. The tires that came in were from 2016. They were original, so now those are new. But it's been fully serviced. It had a major service. Every fluid in the car with the exception of coolant, because that's theoretically a lifetime aspect, coolant in the car. But no, I mean, it's unreal. I mean, the chin spoiler is near perfect. The orange GT3 RS right there has a whopping 318 miles on the odometer. That one is not available. And then we've seen some of this stuff before if you've watched. That's actually, that white one right there I think is the newest GT3 RS to our assortment that we have here. You notice it has gray stripes, silver stripes running down the side of the car versus blue stripes with the other one. The silver car there in the background, a couple black ones. The black GT3 RS with the indigo blue accents, I think, is just absolutely stunning. That white one there, obviously, with the indigo. Look at the black car with the blue indigo. That's just, I think that is really cool. And for whatever reason, tonight with the camera, it pops. Like the indigo pops way more in the camera than it does, I think, with just kind of with the naked eye. So that's kind of cool. That's pretty interesting how that is happening. Yeah, just beautiful. I mean, obviously the showroom is stocked with all kinds of cool stuff. And then there's my bald head. And then out on the lot, we've got a row of RSs. So it's definitely a sight to see. It's very cool stuff right now. Oh, I got to get you back here, John. I'll just, boom, there we are looking outside. Hey, there's somebody that we might recognize. But a row of RSs. There is Mr. Punctual pulling up right now. So at least he made it. He's here for part of the show. Just going to come back. So John's going to resituate the camera if we can. And then, yes, here's our guy is going to be walking in here very soon. He looks excited to be here. He looks very excited to be here. I'm super excited that we get to talk about something else here for a little while. Good job, John. Mm-hmm.
That's fun.
We'll see how many phone calls that generates.
Yeah.
All right.
What do you think
Here's
about that?
Here's our guy. Oh, well.
Here. Do you... He's got urgent business. Grab the camera. Take it with.
Don't worry. I got one in there.
All right, good. Yeah.
What a car, though.
Did you mention it's paint to sample Mexico blue?
Yes.
Okay, good. I didn't hear that. But you're right. It's a very like Gulf esque
Yeah.
thing where all of the colors are like when you turn. Do you remember when you had a CRT TV and it was like 13 inches in your bedroom?
Yeah.
And you just cranked the color button all the way up, and it was just everything looked more.
Right. Yeah.
That's what that looks like.
That's how I
It's
got to
just
see
cranked up.
That's how I got to see boobs. as
That
a
was
kid.
squiggle vision. That was different. That was squiggle vision.
I could turn it to the right channel and then just
when you turn to channel 45,
messing with the knobs.
On
you could tell what was going
what
on.
was the predecessor to
Pay-per-view?
Comcast?
Cinemax?
No, none of those things.
Precursor to
The
Comcast.
cable, Time Warner.
Oh,
Time
geez.
Warner
Yeah.
cable, and Time Warner had Roadrunner internet.
Wow.
They paid for the Roadrunner from Warner Brothers.
Really?
Yes, they did for Roadrunner.
So when you
internet.
logged
And
on,
that-
it was like beep beep.
yeah, and that evolved into Comcast and Xfinity now.
Really?
But at least back in, it's probably been absorbed a million times. But
Sure.
back in Minnesota, it was Time Warner.
Interesting. Yeah. Very cool. That's education.
Yep, Channel 45,
Everybody just learned
fifth
something.
grade,
Channel 40,
squiggle vision.
fifth grade.
Yep,
My
Man,
first television
this is-
was a black and white TV with turn knobs.
that's good.
My parents let me have it in my bedroom, and what they didn't know is that I was able to watch. It started as Johnny Carson, and then it transitioned into Jay Leno. But yeah, that was my first television as a kid. Was, I would lay in bed about 9 inches away from this little black and white TV, and it was great. It was awesome.
That sounds fun.
They had no idea.
Yep. So when Brendan comes back, we'll pretend like we put him on, and
Okay.
we'll talk with him, but the microphone won't be on,
Okay.
and we will. Oh, we got to put him on TV though. He won't even know. Shoot. All right. Should we queue up the magazine? Maybe that might be a good idea.
Do you have it?
I don't know. I don't know if it's even live yet.
Oh wow! So
It
no.
is. No, it's live.
Okay. I need your. We're very prepared for this. I need your your screen.
There you go.
I need to be able to see your screen. There we go. That just ruined all kinds of things for me. So, okay. Here we go. I'm going to try and get this on here. Ba-ba-ba.
This is the best part of radio.
Yes. Mm-hmm. It is.
Getting tech
No
prepared.
Yeah, no one knows what we're doing, which is good. What else is going on?
Brendan's trying to take off his sweater. No. He's got a nice haircut.
Yeah.
He looks fresh and
Well,
prepped.
good news. We have just over half the show to go.
That's great. There he is coming in.
Hey,
hot.
all right.
All right.
All right. Brandon got a haircut. I like it.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing?
We're doing good, man.
You got to say that into the microphone
Yeah.
so everyone else can know what you're
How's
at.
everybody doing?
I think we're great. Thank you for sitting in 4 hours of traffic.
Yes, no doubt.
There were damp roads.
Yeah.
Is my understanding.
So, can you tell me how's our drive, going to be back home?
Waze currently says about 3 hours, 10 minutes.
Headed north?
Uh-huh.
what happened?
The roads are wet.
The roads
That's
are
it.
wet.
That's
That's
really
it.
yeah.
Welcome to Colorado.
Yeah.
This is Brendan with Shift Colorado Magazine with a breaking story. Don't move to Colorado if you're afraid of a little bit of snow.
Yeah. That's true.
Holy cow. So, I'll probably be
Unfortunately,
taking Highway 83 home.
Hopefully the plows have been out.
It's accumulating on the road.
It's freezing on the road. That,
It's-
I think, is the problem.
Okay. The wetness is freezing.
A couple questions.
'Kay.
Would you like a slice of pizza?
I can get to that later.
Okay. Would you like a glass of wine? It kind of tastes like Earl Grey tea.
Sure.
Quite
let's-
nice.
Let's go for it.
Or we also have some cheap Colorado beer, if you'd rather have that.
The cheap Colorado beer sounds delightful.
Does it? Okay.
Can you mute me?
Yeah, I got you. You're that one.
Well, it's good to finally see you guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming back. And you got the Audi out.
Got the Audi
That's
out.
pretty cool. Is this the longest trip it's done?
It is. I think I had put 12 miles on it, and then it blew a power steering pump.
That's pretty cool. Tell everybody about it real quick. They saw you pulling in and philandering at us. I don't think
yeah,
that's
it's
the
because
right word.
I don't know how to park. But
You're good enough.
Yeah, it's my 1983 Audi Quattro project that I've had out of service for about 9 years at this point. Just got it out of the shop, I want to say last week. Brought it home, drove it to work one day, got back from work, and it was making a terrible noise, and I was pretty sure I had thrown a rod already. Luckily, a little bit of exploration there turned out to be a bad power steering pump.
They're notorious for that. I could have told you that. Not really. But, well, thanks for bringing it down. I'm excited to see it. I'm not going to drive it because I think a year ago I nearly killed us in your Skyline.
You know what's scary is that was issue 2. That was almost 2.5
Is that 2 years
Wow.
ago? God.
I wasn't here.
It was a similar day.
Similar day. Yeah.
Similar day.
The roads were wet.
Quite wet. But is there anything you'd like to talk about before we talk about your magazine? Or do you want to just pitch the magazine out and just shoot the shit?
I'm good for whatever at this point. I mean,
All right.
so we make a magazine called Shift Colorado Magazine. You guys are probably sick of seeing us, but if you aren't and you haven't seen me yet, Shift Colorado Magazine is a volunteer magazine that's put together by a bunch of really cool just automotive enthusiasts here on the Front Range, mostly in the Denver metro area. This is our 11th issue, which is astounding to me.
Wow.
Next
awesome.
issue marks basically we'll have been doing this for 3 years. So we'll have been at this for half as long as you guys.
What?
Haven't you guys been going about 5, almost 6?
No,
I don't think so.
not that long.
Okay. Well,
That's a good. I think we're only 150 episodes in. So that's about.
years.
I think it's about the same as you.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's pretty.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Yeah.
close. Yeah,
pretty close.
But yes, we are definitely better at this and longer invested in our careers than you. So thank you for acknowledging that.
Point taken.
We also put in a lot more work.
So this issue was edited by Jake, who joins me here on my
Yes.
left. Jake,
Let's kick it over to him. For
let's
a
kick
minute.
it over to Jake. No, Jake unfortunately left Denver about 20 minutes later than me, and by that point the traffic was stop and go all the way past Castle Rock.
Wow. Wow.
Jake turned around, but made it.
You made it.
This issue was a lot of fun for us. There's a lot of really interesting things in it.
Got to talk about cover art.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that's one of our press cars. That is our Land Cruiser First Edition that we had. Being caught in inclement weather has been something of a theme this issue. You don't really get a rain check when you have a press car. You just have to make kind of do with what you got. The week that we had the Land Cruiser, actually both of our press cars, we just got dumped on with snow. Just absolutely, I think like 5 or 6 inches the day that we were supposed to go out.
Wow.
And we were planning to go up into the mountains with it. And we're not a bunch to let the weather stop us, other than Jake. So that we did. And on the cover is a photo shot by Trevor Lydon, who's someone who joined us this issue.
Nice.
Really cool guy. He actually shoots for Red Bull from time to time.
Holy moly.
Yeah. But yeah, just a really cool picture of the Land Cruiser doing Land Cruiser things up Coal Creek Canyon.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's a great photo.
It's superb. We usually solicit the public for cover art, but everyone saw this and we're like, yeah, that's just got to be it.
Oh yeah. I mean that it looks like a commercial.
Right.
You know. I mean.
Yeah, Trevor's done this a time or two.
Yeah. It just looks Land Cruiser-esque, right? I mean, it's in its element. So.
John, I think if you skip 8 pages forward, I think it's probably our first real story in there.
Oh
yeah.
wow.
Yeah, just you can kind of see the weather that we were dealing with was not the best. It's not what you're hoping for necessarily. but you know, you make do.
Yeah, made for some cool shots.
Made for some really cool shots.
Did you get to drive it?
I got to drive it a little bit for the Sunday morning shoot. I really like it. It reminds me of older Land Cruisers quite a bit. It went to a couple of Land Cruiser fiends we have on our staff. It went to Chris Colton and Dustin Kraft, who are both really big Land Cruiser people. They got to spend the bulk of the time with it. But in the time that I had with it, it was just a delightful truck.
I like the look. It's very like 80s, like future 80s.
It is. It's
like
got some of that
2182.
kind of
It's
neo retro.
this car, it's coming to you from 2182.
Yeah. Like some of the throwbacks you get on the first edition too. The round headlights are a kind of cool nod to the old FJ stuff.
That's only for these?
That's only for the first edition. You get kind of square, boxy lights.
Lame.
I definitely significantly prefer that the first edition stuff. But yeah, that was a cool shoot. Obviously, our press cars are something that we spend a lot of time and effort on, so they're a big part of our spreads here.
What was your?
I was trying to read the article in real time.
In real time.
Yeah.
Live reading.
Right.
Whoa, there's more.
Yeah, so every time we do a review, we actually we try and get two people to drive the car, so you can get kind of two different impressions of it. And the main person writes kind of the big full review, and then you just get a kind of experiential second opinion on it, if you will. The next article that John just flipped over into was one that Marty, one of our other editors, Marty, got a little confused on the last show, and went over on the last show.
Yeah, this was his favorite
That was his favorite article
Yes.
that wasn't in issue 10.
That's true.
This was a good one. We went on a junkyarding day.
Awesome.
Got to say, the Porsche Macan makes a great junkyard car.
Better than a 911, maybe?
I definitely got to bring more home.
Good.
Are you able to say what salvage yard junkyard you went to?
I believe it was I think it was a LKQ lot in central Denver.
Okay.
But Marty got creamed by a hit and run driver in his GMT Silverado. Which,
No way.
You know, there's 8 billion of those in pretty much any yard you can go to, and we needed to get him a fender and a mirror and a couple other things, and took us about 20 minutes to get the fender and the mirror, and then we just messed around. I think Jake now has a whole cadre of new family photos on his desk that aren't his family that we just found, and the archaeology that you can do in a junkyard is really interesting.
Right. But wait a minute. Marty was involved in a hit and run accident?
Yeah, so Marty, I guess he was on his way to one of our staff get-togethers and was just getting ready to turn. F-150 came out and creamed him.
Wow.
Got to watch out for the followers of the Blue Oval there.
Holy moly. That's wild.
Yeah.
That is wild.
So this is our featured photographer. His name's Alvin. He goes by Tecolote on Instagram. What's really cool about this, and something I've always wanted to see more of, do something with, is Alvin kind of specializes in lowriders, which is really awesome. So there's just every issue we like to do a featured photographer, if you will, where we just talk about, someone's work, what they like to follow, the things they like to do. And this is really cool because this is out of the norm for us. There's a lot of people who are out there to shoot supercars, but you don't see this as often.
Sure.
These are featured right now at the Peterson Museum.
Yeah.
My in-laws were there, and I was picking the kids up from school, and they FaceTimed Lewis, and they're like, "Hey, Lewis, you'll never guess where we are." And we're seeing these just crazy, immaculate lowriders.
The level of intricacy that goes
Oh my
into
God.
these things. Oh my God.
Yeah. It's like if everyone I ever met that was into cars got together and built a car.
With the most OCD possible.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Exactly. So if the most talented person I've ever met was all of the other people I ever met, and then all of that talent got dumped onto a car,
Yeah. It's wild.
15,000 hours
Yeah, right.
on a paint job.
Like every control arm is engraved.
Engraving.
Yeah,
It's the engraving
Yeah.
for me. Like, holy moly.
Absolutely
The
incredible.
engraving, the plating, just the level of effort on these things is ballistic.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very cool.
And then are a lot of them filled with, $20 Die-Hard batteries to make everything work?
I'll bet there's disparity in practice on the batteries there. I'll bet there's a wide range of people who spend the money and also a wide range of people who don't.
Yeah. Yep. I had very little experience with a lowrider when I was in high school. There was a guy in school that was a year ahead of me, and I wasn't really that. I was kind of into cars, but not as deep into cars. And he built a lowrider at home.
Awesome.
And it worked. It was awesome, right? He worked very hard. He saved every penny to put this car together. And I remember it very clearly that he would do everything that he could to make sure that the lowrider could kind of do its thing right at our mall. Like we had a shopping mall,
That's the best place for one.
At nighttime, right? On a Saturday night or whatever. And it was outside of the food court, which is where the movie theater was, right? Was next to the food court. And so he knew, right, the timing that everybody would be leaving, the movie theater around 10:30 at night. And so when he gets in his car, he would, it would
go do his thing.
It would go do its thing, right? It lasted for 30 seconds and then he would take off. And then batteries were dead. So he'd charge the batteries for an entire day, let the car, he would do his thing, for 30 seconds, and then that's all it could do, But it was awesome. It was so cool to see it actually work.
I really like seeing them kind of come into their own too. I feel like lowriders used to be the low-hanging fruit of kind of car jokes. Kind of easy to be just the butt of the joke on those things, but. Seeing the level of effort and talent and, attention to detail that goes into one of those, I'm staggered. And he captures it really well. So
I think when Rob Dickinson and Singer are here,
right,
we should ask them to do a collab with some LA lowriders.
I think you should.
Like West Coast Customs.
Those guys are awesome. I was actually talking to Lorenzo today,
nice.
But I'm talking like OG legit.
Like the Crips.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not intelligent enough to speak about the culture.
Right.
But I think, there's probably, LA has got to be a mecca for that stuff.
It's got to be. I mean, it's a melting pot of everything.
Yeah,
too,
exactly.
Right?
So find the guys that have their cars on display at the Peterson, bring them to Singer, and now do me a 964 Speedster lowrider done by Singer. Lowrider paint.
The rolling down the street in my 6.4 edition.
Exactly.
I want that.
In my
Yes.
964.
Yeah,
My
exactly.
9.6.4.
That's what I'm talking about.
The lowrider paint. That's pretty
The
cool.
lowrider paint.
The actual like
on
the old school
on
metal,
hydraulics?
metal
Yeah.
plate paint.
I'm in.
Yeah, it's got 80 coats of clear coat. I mean, just where it just glows.
Yes,
That's cool.
that'd be amazing.
That would be amazing.
That would be a whole new
And then take it to the Quail.
right.
debut it at the Quail. Yeah.
Debut it at the Quail.
Hashtag I need tickets.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super cool. But you're right. The photography is awesome, right? I mean, that's wild.
It's just always so cool to get a chance to showcase kind of what we have in the state as far as photographers who do so many different things too. Yeah, so shout out to Alvin. Awesome article.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Little Aston Martin there.
Little Aston Martin, yeah. And each of our issues, we kind of throw a couple of Colorado cars in there. This time around, we did this V12 Vanquish, as well as a imported Toyota Celica All-Track GT4, which was really cool. We attended a little bit of ice racing up at the Articana event.
Nice.
That was another Trevor Lydon banger right there. Or actually, no, I think that was actually Chris Colton.
Yep.
Sorry, getting confused on that one. But just awesome shots. Ice racing is a wonderful thing. It's really interesting as far as something to shoot. Super frustrating to try. I don't know. Have either of you guys tried ice racing?
No.
All the inputs are kind of backwards. It's a new way of learning how to drive. It's kind of like your experience at Dirtfish is what I'd compare it to.
Very, very low traction. And
Yeah,
you
very
gotta
low
wait for the
traction.
car to do anything.
And depending on kind of what your configuration is, when do you add power to steer, or what do you do to get around a corner? It's really interesting. Just some great winter action for a winter issue, right?
Looks fun.
This was a fun morning for us where we got to learn about Fiats and
boy.
also regulatory responsibility in the same day.
Oh, nice. How many of those cars restarted after you shut them off?
Every car started all day, and I was as surprised as you are. But we had a couple of spiders show up. We had a Scorpion, which is awesome. It's the Monte Carlo in Europe.
Okay.
I've always wanted to see one of those.
Oh, yeah.
in person.
Yep. That's the brown one.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And then
And
is that a Thunderbird Super Coupe?
that is a Thunderbird Super Coupe at the end, and I'm not exactly sure what was going on there. That was, I think he was just their buddy who came along.
Okay.
We're an inclusive bunch, so
Yeah.
we're not going to tell him to go home.
Yep.
But yeah, that same day, we learned that most magazines get permits when they shoot places, and luckily we met a really nice ranger at the park there who
Oh, boy.
schooled us up a little bit. He did not give us a ticket. He let us off with a warning. So shout out to the ranger wherever you are.
Right. That is pretty cool.
So at what point do I need a permit to take a picture?
Commercial use,
Okay.
which is debatable for us, but we're on the
That's what-
cusp.
Because you're all
Yeah.
just a bunch of buddies getting together.
That was kind of our first argument. But
Yeah.
I'm
I guess
shooting
you're
this for my
publishing it.
Facebook page.
yeah, just put it on your. Do it for the gram.
Yeah.
Right.
What, yeah. Talk to me about the definition of commercial.
Right.
Like I'm selling it? That's what it sounds like to me.
I'm in.
Yeah.
John, we need you at our shoots.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a great morning with these folks, learning about the club and the things that they do, and got to just drive around with a bunch of really cool Fiats and an old Lancia, and also a Thunderbird Super Coupe.
It's a sweet car.
It's a sweet
Yeah.
car,
Yeah.
and the dude
is
who
really
drove
cool.
it was really cool too.
That's very fun.
Got the PPIR calendar for the year. Lots of cool events coming up with them.
Is the Colorado karting tour on there?
It is not. It's mostly car specific stuff here. But are they actually running the Colorado karting tour out there?
Yeah.
like on the Roval.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
They do one of the banks. They go up on one of the banks, but it's the infield.
That's way cool.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty long course for the karts. It is cool. It's a good race out there.
This one is a very in-depth profile of a BMW Z1 written by our buddy Jason. Mark Hall, I guess, is a guy who lives. I just saw as I was getting ready to come on the show here that he said he was just up around the corner and would love to come talk about the car sometime. But
Nice.
Yeah. No, super cool guy. I've had a lot of fun interactions with him.
Yeah.
Kind of talking about things he's wanted to do to this Z1, and it just, as much as we are Porsche geeks, he is a BMW geek and has a really cool collection of some really interesting stuff.
what would you say you do with this once you have it?
Well, the Z1. This is the one that has like the pocket doors.
Yeah,
right?
the doors
Yeah.
drop down and under the
Right.
car, which is totally rad.
So he wanted to swap in a hotter 6-cylinder.
Okay.
And my suggestion was, well, build a super hot rod E30 M3 motor.
That would be interesting.
Because I think what he was having trouble with is like the bell housing pattern. Mm-hmm. And there wasn't a lot that, this is a 6-cylinder, but there's not a lot that he could do with other 6-cylinders.
Right.
But he wants it to be a little more zippy. What would I do with it? I don't know. Leave the doors down all the time, never put the top up and drive it.
I like that answer.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jason came down and put this shoot together on pretty short notice. And remember that this one actually is kind of carry forward from our last issue because we just started getting so dang long. Mm-hmm. But if there's ever a question you wanted answered very eloquently, Jason's your guy. This is your article about the BMW Z1.
I'm excited to read this one.
Yeah, it looks cool. Mm-hmm. Super interesting car for sure. I don't know. I think I've only seen one in real life at the Arapahoe Community Car Show of the Concord.
Like a teal? Was that one teal?
No, it was red.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the doors, it's the size of the car,
Right.
and the doors.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically a Miata with interesting doors.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And a 6-cylinder.
And a 6-cylinder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very cool. No, that's neat. That is really neat. I have no idea. A Z1, like what, if you were to see this car and bring a trailer, what would you expect it to go for?
I want to say 80 to 100.
Okay.
I was going to say 62.
62. That's incredibly specific. I really like it.
You got to be. Yeah. Plus buyer's fee.
Plus buyer's fee.
Yeah.
And commission.
Uh-huh.
This one was a really cool contribution. Our guy Nate on the Western Slope does some really cool things, and in this case, he went on the Telluride Automotive Classic. And this year was kind of an ode to Ford. And what he got to highlight, actually, so there is this gang of people who built the... It's all people who had built the initial original Shelby Mustangs in the Venice Beach shop for Shelby. Mm-hmm. It's called the Original Venice Club, or Original Venice Crew, sorry. And they got together and started putting continuation cars together. So Nate actually got to sit down with one of the guys and do kind of full-blown interview with one of the dudes who was like there when all the cool Shelby stuff was happening. Working on some of the street cars kind of while they were also doing the GT40 and the crazy race car stuff. Mm-hmm. Kind of wild read. Nate always finds these really cool things to go out and chase, and what I'm always impressed by is he goes out and does it basically unsupported. You know,
Okay.
We're spoiled on this side of the mountain range because we have probably a staff of 30 at this point. Nate's on his own out in Montrose.
Wow. Wow.
And he got to meet Camilo Pardo. He got to meet Jim, who is one of the OVC guys. Everything Nate puts together is always some of my favorite stuff. So this one's definitely a cool one, worth the read.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. That's super interesting. I like the part that he's on his own. Like he's going and finding it.
He is a one-man army with a camera. It's pretty cool.
That's pretty wild. Mm-hmm.
We also
I don't think the wheel on that one is big enough.
It could be bigger. I actually kind of doubt it could be bigger.
I don't think so. Yeah, I think that is bumping up against the top of the bed.
So this is another kind of new segment that actually Jake was chasing. Jake is doing some shop profiles, which is really cool. And he went out and met a guy named James who runs Full Blown Customs up in Denver. And this is the type of place that will re-envision a car from the ground up. You're talking kind of the same level of commitment and effort that goes into a Singer. Mm-hmm. Just, on a very small scale, and very interesting to see and read about kind of how James got his start in fabrication, because fabrication's just a whole different thing from being a mechanic, right?
Sure.
I like them already.
Going in and meeting the guy, and
Volvo 242 with an alcohol burning 590, I'm guessing cubic inch, big block Chevy.
as his first build.
Yeah. Also with a blower.
Wow.
I mean, you got to respect anyone who builds an alcohol burning anything.
Yeah, it was unsafe. He says it was unsafe.
It was unsafe. Yeah.
It's a good adjective for most project cars, I feel like.
Right. This is unsafe.
But yeah, love this shop profile. Jake did a really good job with it.
Yeah. That's super cool. Yeah, look at the welds. Jeez.
I went in there to meet with him when Jake was doing some of the groundwork for the story, and he showed me how kind of metal bending works with like a stamper and just all kinds of really cool things. Like I've never understood an English wheel, like conceptually how that works. You just roll some metal through some rollers, and somehow it bends.
Yeah. Did he teach you that? Or is it still
he
black
actually
magic?
showed it to me in practicum. I'm going to say I'm pretty hard to teach anything, but he did bend a piece of metal right in front of me and showed me. He made it look very easy,
Sure.
which was very cool. So definitely worth checking that one out.
That's pretty cool. That is super cool.
That kind of talent. I mean, again, look at the size of that wheel. How is that wheel in there?
The level
what
of
is that, like
refabrication the dude does to just make this stuff actually fit
It's got to be
is
a
astonishing.
It's got to be a 35-inch wheel
It's a big boy.
with a 36-inch tire.
That truck was there when I was there. It is a big boy.
Wow.
We know John's next project.
Yeah, it's a 590 big block into my old Volvo. Right. You know,
So you know what's really cool about our editing software is sometimes it just drops random images when we export things.
yeah.
I just want you to imagine a very good shot of the new Volkswagen.
Well, that's kind of what it looks like, right?
Yeah,
It's just a close up on the
it's
white,
a close up of
right,
the
white portion.
roof.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you
No.
drive this?
I did drive that.
Did you love it?
I did.
Did you trade your Telluride for one?
I did not.
Okay.
Wonderful car. The actually everybody else pretty much got to spend a fair amount of time with it because I was going to go out with the gang, and then the shop I was at with the Urq said you really need to finish your homework before you go out to play. So I wound up getting to skip this one. But the following Sunday morning we did an extra credit shoot with it, and
Nice.
I really like it. I think it's got a really cool kind of open, airy cabin. They did a lot of really
Very
cool
open
things
and
with
airy.
it. It's very open and airy on the cover page. You know, the thing that I think they missed the opportunity to do with it was do any cool Westphalia stuff with it, like any of like the rotating seats where you could turn the seats around in the cabin, have a table or a little camper set up, and maybe that's yet to come too. This was a first edition, but extremely cool. Really interesting to watch the rest of the gang try to figure out how to do electric car things with no tutelage.
Okay.
Watching them endure the joys of public charging.
Yes.
But that was another fun one. And I know you guys are coming up on time. There's one other one that I have that's kind of near and dear to throw out there.
We don't really care.
Do it.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you want to talk about?
I have one towards the back of the magazine. I want to say page like 118.
Chris Coleman.
Chris Coleman.
Yeah.
We got to stop there.
Yeah.
You know this guy.
I love
Yeah.
that guy.
We love this guy.
Yeah. He has been to our after parties
Has he been to your after party?
from the Morgan Adams. He was there.
He was there.
He was there. He had, I think he had a Big Mac. I'm pretty sure. I think I saw him eating a Big Mac.
I'm going to go with yes. I can't
100%.
imagine Chris Coleman being the type of person who would put a Big Mac.
Yeah. How
in
would
his
you
body.
turn one down? Right. Yeah.
But we do a profile on one of our staff cars each issue. And Chris Coleman was up this time with a beautiful 992 GTS that I believe you guys sold him, right?
Not that one.
Yeah. They're just yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
We'll
we
go with for simplification reasons. Yes.
Simply yes.
And we got out and we shot this, and great morning. But what a nice guy, talented guy, and we got the opportunity.
Really
to actually,
hairy arms though.
super hairy arms. Great accent.
Look up there. It's
Yeah,
got
no,
ha-
got
got hairy arms.
I can see.
My arms aren't that hairy.
But we got the opportunity to actually get him on staff because of you guys with the classic rally.
Right.
Last,
Yeah,
so
you guys shared the Macan.
Chris and I had been talking back and forth about joining, and it's always hard to find time between two people to connect. And but not when you're sharing the same car for all day.
Right.
And Chris decided to join us. I've just been overjoyed having Chris kind of on the team ever since. He's a great guy, great personality, drives a great car.
Yep.
Just can't run out of nice things to say about Chris Coleman.
Okay, give me one more.
Very eloquent.
All right. I won't challenge you again.
He kind of looks like Adam Savage from MythBusters a little bit. He's got at least like the he's got the defining line. He's got the aesthetic pretty close.
That's pretty good. Uh-huh.
I feel like that's positive.
Yes, very much.
Right.
Our other press car. So we were able to talk Nissan into loaning us a Rogue.
Nice.
And it's actually it was a lot of fun. We had it out on the same day as the Land Cruiser. We got the Land Cruiser stuck, and we did not get the Rogue stuck, which is a little surprising. The Rogue does have way more off-road focused tires than the Land Cruiser we got.
Really?
Which is an interesting thing. Yeah,
That is interesting.
but this was one that Jake kind of took the lead on. One of our photographers actually took the second opinion on. And you know, starting to see a lot more stuff out there with 3-cylinder motors, which is interesting. And this is a 3-cylinder. It's a variable compression turbo motor, which is really interesting. I know a lot of manufacturers have been doing kind of non-committal things with variable compression, but it's interesting to see it in kind of a mass market setting. Got a chance to drive this as well. It's a Rogue.
It's a Rogue. They still use a CVT transmission and all that kind of stuff.
Of course.
Yeah.
But I mean, the good news about it is Nissan's been using CVTs for 20 years, so they've
Right.
at least got it kind of figured out to the point where it feels natural. I do remember my first time ever driving something with big Ultima Energy that had a CVT back in the early days.
Yep. Floor it revs to 4.
It
And
revs
it
to
goes,
4 and just keeps going. Yeah. The
And now you're
weird
doing 30.
rubber bandy sensation. It's great radio.
It's very accurate. Somebody's like, that's exactly what my car sounds like. That's not normal.
Brandon did want to take the opportunity to park it next to an Urus so that we happened upon to show
I
just
did
how
see that.
similar they are.
They are. Same paint color.
Same paint color.
Same wheel. Yeah, and I actually like the red accents on the Rogue A.
I mean, you're taking a Rogue as your starting point. They found a way to make some relative interest out of it, which I do appreciate. There's some cool little touches throughout. Actually, it was super capable. We took it up the same canyon, same deep snow that the Land Cruiser did, and again, the Land Cruiser got stuck. That didn't.
Wow.
But yeah, kind of the fun part about this is getting to see all kinds of different cars that you would maybe not necessarily go track down.
Sure.
And the fleets are full of CUVs over the winter. No one's putting their spicy stuff in the fleet, so it's kind of cool to put on a different set of shoes and try to think about, like, you know, how would an enthusiast think about this?
We are super excited about paying our $50 for you to get us into the crew.
So excited to get you into the crew.
Yeah. So
Did we ever confirm if that was the same $50 bill or two separate $50 bills?
I have 3 in my wallet today for you.
Okay.
One for him, one for me, and one for Lewis.
Fantastic.
So
We'll
let
get
me
you
know if
signed
you
up.
need help filling out our applications.
So we have to make Steve sad for a moment.
Oh, Steve's quitting? That's too bad.
Steve is quitting his 20-something Alfa Romeo Giulia and blue of some kind. As long as I've been on Cars and Coffee, Steve's had this car. He's got the M3 LOL license plate. It's pretty ubiquitous. And he decided to buy, what is it, the Stelvio recently.
Oh, look at that.
Which is That's a choice that you can make. I don't know. I'm judging a little bit.
I very much appreciate Alpha.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're back in the States. I think they're making some really cool cars. And I'm glad that other people have them.
Yes. Yes.
I would love to have one someday, but I don't know. I haven't
An Alpha?
Yeah. I just haven't been able to make that leap.
You know, we drove the Hornet last issue, which is a Stelvio and Dodge clothing.
Yeah.
It's interesting because it's actually made in Italy, alongside the actual, or not the Stelvio, the Tonale. I'm gonna be in the minority, but I like that thing. It was goofy in the right way for a Dodge.
Yeah,
I feel like.
sure.
But yeah, I mean, Steve wanted to blow it out with his Alpha one last time and got a couple of different Giulias to tag along as well as his Stelvio. We've already put his Stelvio into service as a camera car. It's it's bigger.
That's good.
Bigger's
Has more of
good.
a hatch.
More of a hatch. I believe he had some exciting dealership problems actually getting the car landed because he bought it from, I think, North Carolina right before, during, or after the hurricane.
Oh,
And there was some interesting stuff with getting the car paid for, but yeah, he's all set. He's got a new car. Look at that guy. He's so happy.
yeah.
New car day is a fun day.
New car day
Totally.
is a fun day.
Yep.
Next one, this is the one that this was kind of my passion project of the issue, was making time to say thanks. And this is our buddy Ian, who was actually on the group a little bit earlier.
Yeah. He was chatting in.
He was chatting in.
Yeah.
So Ian did a really cool thing. We got Ian up the hill for Pikes Peak Hill Climb about 2 years ago. I want to say it was the 2023 Hill Climb. And he just had this awesome experience hanging out with the drivers, being kind of embedded. He went with me to every early morning practice while he was out. Said it was, I think he called it the best worst time of his life, because I was getting him up at like 2 a.m. every day. Getting home at like maybe 4 p.m, then coming back down for Fan Fest, or trying to hurry up the mountain to get up there for other different things. But Ian was so moved by the experience, and unfortunately Ian moved to North Carolina about a year and a half ago. And Ian was also a kind of co-founder of the magazine, just really cool, contributing, someone who really set the stage for the direction of the thing in the beginning. And he took up watchmaking. And as a way to say thank you for our drivers who get us the opportunity to go up and be a part of this, wonderful, tremendous thing, he made a custom watch for each one of the drivers, of which 3 of them actually got pictures and 1 got dropped, which was really cool. But
Wow.
The watch got dropped?
yeah, on that right page.
Oh,
We
no.
really got to work on our...
The picture got dropped. I thought
the
you meant the
picture got
watch got dropped and exploded.
No.
A picture going away is it's the green one.
It's the green one,
Yeah.
the Trevor watch. But yeah, he hand-built each of the drivers a watch based on their car.
Wow.
That's
and
pretty cool.
just kind of going through the process of what he did there and putting them together, and a couple of pictures of the gang and Hackle, which are our drivers in there. Just really, really cool thing to be a part of, because he had me hand deliver them to each of the drivers and
Nice.
get a video of them opening them.
Who cried the most?
Mattis.
Nice.
Mattis is a
That
crier.
makes sense. I believe that. He's a very sensitive man.
He's a sensitive guy.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's fantastic.
I think kind of bringing up the back, we've got our shoot with the GT4, which was just another super cool car to get some exposure to. I love JDM stuff.
Why didn't they ever bring that to the U.S.?
I don't know.
I mean,
feel
what
like
an
that would have been a
awesome-
slam dunk,
Yeah. What a great car. They would have sold like 16.
right? Getting to see one in person was really cool. I know these have been kind of available to import for a while, but I've only ever seen Chuck Henry's in person, who's the guy who brought his out for this, and I've never gotten to spend kind of any appreciable amount of time with it. Chuck wasn't able to join us that morning, but he had a buddy bring it out, And he insisted that our editor Jake drive the car while it was out, which was nerve-wracking because the morning we were out there, Deer Creek Canyon was covered in sheet ice.
Oh, wow.
Like, there's a lot of really cool pictures of really good reflections there, because that parking lot was a mirror with glare ice. But, what a cool car to spend, a morning kind of bumming around with and getting to understand. And
far and away the best looking Celica.
Easily, especially of that generation.
Well, any generation though. Like the pop-up headlight ones were cool.
I love the pop-up headlight
those
ones.
were neat,
but there's
but this
something
is
wrong
way
with
better.
me.
No, this is better. It's like a Celica with built-in rally lights.
That's true.
What a great car.
That was a great shoot. That was the same morning we did Chris Coleman's car. What a cool pair of things that I wouldn't want to bring out on a road that looks like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that brings us up to kind of the standard end of the magazine stuff. So we really speed ran that. One other shout out I want to give out real quick is we've actually grown up and gotten a columnist.
Okay.
What does that mean?
Someone who just writes words. There's no pictures.
Okay.
Okay. Cool.
They did a deep dive. So this is Danielle. She is a kind of accomplished journalist in the Denver area. She's on some of like the mailing lists and the actual, the manufacturers keep them apprised of what's going on. Danielle's one of those.
Nice.
And she was talking about some of the Porsche stuff that's coming out soon. That's kind of driven by generative AI. Sounds like there's some fairly interesting stuff coming.
Is there a 914?
The new 914.
The new 914.
I heard about the new 914. Oh, what a great car. It's out.
Driven by cats.
Meow.
I think it's a little more on like the driving experience and how your AI computer can aid in the driving experience and make suggestions for you on things. She goes on a really deep dive there. It's pretty interesting stuff.
Cool. Very cool.
Well, I don't know anything about that, so I'll have to get up to speed.
For sure.
You heard it here first.
Yes. Yes, we did. Thank you, Magnus.
Yeah, but that brings us to the end of the magazine. I always like to end highlighting something on the next page, which is our We Want You. This is a project that's just made up of a bunch of people who like doing this. John made a really cool comment about it, I think, when we were talking about our third issue, if you can remember all that way back. But the easiest way to get involved in something like auto journalism, if you've ever want to do it, is to just go out and get involved. We're a great spot for that. We really like bringing new people on, having new faces, new skill sets. Everyone we've ever brought on our team adds something, which is really cool.
That even includes us.
That even includes you. You are now both writers.
Yeah. Yeah. You wrote.
I guess.
Yeah. Well, you did. All right.
But yeah, I'd just like to highlight the kind of it takes a village ethos of the project, and just super big thank you to everyone who's kind of worked with us either in the past, the present, or may work with us in the future on some of the stuff we're doing. One quick plug for Steve's scholarship too.
Oh yeah.
Colorado Cars and Coffee is doing a scholarship for someone who's looking to get post-secondary education in the automotive field. Last year, I think we gave out $2,000 scholarships to people who were. I think one was someone who was at Denver Adult Daycare. Someone who was at DADC. The other was someone who was at Lincoln.
Okay.
Should we contribute a hammer?
Do you have a hammer available?
No, I just think we should go buy a hammer and give it to the person that receives the scholarship. Because that's like the tool you need most when you're doing automotive stuff.
I feel like that would be a great counterpoint to the giant check. Steve goes out and gets the giant check, so we could present them with the giant check.
And then here's a hammer.
Here's a hammer.
Courtesy of Porsche Colorado Springs.
Specifically a dead blow hammer.
A dead blow.
I'm into that.
That might actually be useful. You're not going with the engineering sledge?
All right, you pick the hammer. I'll pay for it. As long as it's not titanium.
Teamwork.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just end of another great issue. Really love working with this group. I'm sure Jake would say the same thing if he was here. Jake,
Yeah,
any
he did.
comment?
He did. He had to leave early.
Okay.
So, all right. Well, thanks for coming down.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Thanks for having
yeah,
me.
another awesome issue for sure. Yeah, this is really fun. This is very cool.
Yeah, always nice to see you guys. Always great to talk about the stuff that we're doing and see what you guys are doing. And
Yeah. Singer event, Cars and Coffee.
Oh, yeah.
That is March
29th.
29th?
10 to 1, Saturday the 29th.
Should be pretty interesting.
Yeah, there's either going to be a lot of people or nobody here.
It's open to the public.
So
Really?
please come and be one of the nobodies that's here.
I can do that.
I will. I
should
might
be pretty cool.
try to bring my Volvo,
There you go.
They're
Yeah.
going to love it.
right? Fill that thing up with air and
That's right.
Ooh.
Let's put a blower on it.
590 alcohol injected.
Let's-
Totally unsafe
I bet I know where you can get an engine for it.
deal. All right. I don't know. Should we just leave it on and keep recording but turn this off?
For the First Dibs podcast from inside Porsche Colorado Springs, I'm Justin. That's John and Brendan. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
Everybody have a fun, safe,